who has the best tough guys in the world? Do you think? Like
Russia.
If we're talking about like British soccer hooligans versus like Irish mafiosos versus like West Coast Crips and Bloods.
Those are the
like,
scariest to me.
I'm sticking with Russia.
Oh wait. Cartel
versus like Mexican cartel members and MS-13 versus like Russian mobsters versus like the Albanian mobsters who apparently cut your feet off, from what the Shield has taught me. Like where do these stink rack? And at what point do you feel like you're outclassed? Like if you're having to take on some of these guys.
Okay,
Dude,
all right. Wait. First of all, great topic. Second, I'm outclassed at the very beginning. Whatever it is, Somalian skinnies will scare me to death. They all outclass me. I'm 46 years old. I'm not meant to be fighting. But the scariest to me is, I think, the cartel. There's a level of badassery, strength, fearlessness, and just a lack of foresight that makes them scary in a certain way. Like the lack of consequence predicting that makes them apt to cause problems.
Yeah, that could also be because we're so close to that's what we hear the most about, I would think, are those Mexican cartels. But like, actually, I don't know. Like the Mexican cartels, they have so much money. So much fucking money. Like
ISIS has money? Is ISIS in this group?
No. If you put the fucking Russian mob or a cartel against ISIS, I guarantee some South American cartel butt fucks ISIS in the first 72 hours. They're going to dominate. But like, man, this is a good question. I don't know. The Yakuza,
I do like this topic.
The Yakuza have an enormous amount of money, a ton of power, and they're Japanese, and so they don't give a fuck about vivisecting you once they've caught you.
Oh no, not vivisection.
The vivisection? No. I had that done as a baby.
No.
Yeah, no. Do you know what vivisection is?
No.
It's when they dissect you alive.
Yeah, it's where you're still alive, and they dissect you alive and then do things to you to test how an alive body will respond to certain chemicals.
Yeah, that's what that Japanese group did. Section 73 or some shit like that.
Yep. Yeah, I don't remember the number, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's super interesting.
Just as bad as the Nazis. I think...
Dude, from the surgery shit, they were worse than Nazis. They were the worst of all time with that shit. Like,
yeah, I'm back to like the question. I think that like there are some groups that are just all business, and then there are some groups that seem to be more sadistic in nature and seem to be more less business oriented. And I think those are the scarier ones. I think that like an Italian mafioso type guy, they don't want to kill you. If they like I heard that I watched this interview of a guy who was a hitman for the Italian mob a while back, and he was like, if someone owed him money, they're like, what if a guy owed you money? He's a loan shark. This is what he did, and he was a loan shark and he was also a hitman. But being the hitman is what opened the door to being a loan shark. And he was like, what if the guy owes you money and suddenly he can't pay? And he's like, well, he can't pay? It's like, yeah, like his mother's sick or something. Well, I'll understand that. We've all got problems. My mom's been sick before. It's hard. I'll tell him, come back to me when you can pay. But don't lie to me. Come and let me know you can't pay and why you can't pay. I'm in the business of making money here, and I'm not even going to charge him interest during that time. If he's down on his luck, it doesn't benefit me to go kill him. Now I'm not getting any money. And
he's
if I go hurt him,
in that way.
if I go hurt him, well, now he can't work to pay me. Now he can't even work to take care of his mom, and that's just wrong. But if he's got money and he's going and gambling it somewhere else, or he's using drugs, or he's buying women, or he's just throwing it around, that's a different story. He's like, well, then you kill him? No, don't kill him. He can't pay me if he's dead. He's going back to
of course, the way
how many times do I have to say?
The Italian mob would be like, but my mother, she is so sick. I am trying my best to try and make it out.
Like every
her.
tough mobster in the room is like, oh, your mama.
It's your mom.
They're all peeling off some money.
I like that Taylor threw one of these in for like.
I'm so sorry for your mom.
That means a fuck you.
It does mean fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, it tells me fuck you. Yeah. Where they be giving little
fuck your
slides.
mother.
They fuck your mother. But I pray so hard for her to come back.
Have we had the stack rankings? I landed on Cartel. Did Kyle like the Russians?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was heading. I was saying that the ones who were like business oriented, like the Italians, and by the same stroke of
the
same
Yakuza, probably.
Yeah, all of those guys who are a business first, and violence is, they're no different than fucking Morgan Stanley or McDonald's or name a big corporation. It's just that they do illegal business. And part of that, because there is no fucking police you can call when somebody does some bad contract with you or does you wrong, is that violence has to be done to them. And that's your policing.
Yeah.
That's how you keep the rules. But someone like the cartel, they seem to be in the business oftentimes of dealing with other criminal organizations. That's who it seems like they're
They
doing.
use
the most
violence
harm
for
to.
behavior modification.
Yeah. They're hurting people who hurt people a lot of the times. They're the people that they're really doing bad things to are members of different cartels.
They might be hurting people who encroach on their sales.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not necessarily hurting people. They just might be a rival marijuana dealer.
Oh yeah, they're not hurting them because Jose was a bad guy and he beat his wife. They're hurting Jose because Jose's trying to sell cocaine in my area, or he's trying to import cocaine through like the same border guard that I pay off in El Paso or some shit like that. It's all about territory, and the bottom line's money again. Oh man. Anyway, Mexican cosmetic surgery tourism. That is what brought 4 Americans to Mexico last week, and only 2 of them lived to tell their tale. Because
what's the story?
A Mexican drug cartel picked the 4 of these folks up, threw them in a truck, and beat 2 of them to death or shot them or something, and then beat the 3rd within an inch of their life. They got recovered. They're back stateside. And today, the cartel drops off 5 dudes, beaten bloody, tied up with a sign next to them with an apology to the United States.
Oh.
It says, these are the 5 people who fucked, I'm paraphrasing, who fucked up. We did not tell them to do that. They were acting on their own accord against our rules. Here they are.
Wow.
Do with them as you will. We are sorry for all of this. It won't happen again.
A little PR statement.
On like a big board. And then,
Muchachos.
and I'm telling you, it's 5 dudes like
Muchachos.
zip tied face down on the asphalt, laying there. Their asses have clearly been whooped quite severely.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was one of the coolest. It was like something out of a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Nice of
Cartel
them.
does not want
I think
attention.
the takeaway is now Mexico is safe.
Time to dust
I
our
think
hands
Mexico
off.
was already safe for us. Like I'll
mission
say this, Woody.
accomplished.
Like this doesn't. I think Mexico is safer today than it was last week for American tourists going down there. It's the same thing as when in Atlanta at Whitewater, our water park, this kid shit in the pool. Right, he shit all in the pool, diarrhea style,
asshole.
and got a ton of people sick with E. coli. They nuked that place from outer space with chlorine. The next week was the best time ever to go. So I think right now, super safe to go down. The cartels told everybody, leave the Americans alone, or you'll end up like, Pablo, Hector, and the
You
gang.
could run your mouth out down there. You just go,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
what's up, fucking hombres? Fuck you, fuck the cartel, suck my cock, fuck your mom. And they're like, God damn, this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'll let someone
Diplomatic
else try
immunity,
that.
motherfuckers.
You can go down there like
Spanish,
Johnny
you're Mexican,
America.
right?
You can wear your
Yeah.
cowboy hat and your American flag jacket and just be a piece of shit.
Yeah, Dick, do you speak Spanish? You can go down there and be a little liaison. Talk to the cartel.
I don't speak
got
very
some-
much Spanish. I
But you
speak
got enough
just
Spanglish to get us out of some trouble, right? How do you say, like, we're sorry, no more? That'd be easy. You get that done.
Me totani.
no más. No más. No la cabeza. No. Necesito
No.
mi cabeza.
What's cabeza?
Head.
Your head. Yeah. I knew that one.
I need my head. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
the,
that's like, you can imagine the cartel doesn't want attention from the U.S. government. And so you can easily see them being like, you did what? You fucking retard. All right, well, tie these people up, take them to the border. Hope we don't get fucked with.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I bet somebody will die over this. I bet more people will die over this. I think it gets serious when that sort of thing happens.
And most of them are silver. There's a lot of other interesting cars. We've chased one for years that was owned by the biggest drug runner for El Chapo, this guy named Humberto Ojeda. It's a brown car with a red interior and gold wheels that was maybe a payment from some Italian clients for some product, but it went into Mexico in like 98. And this guy he owned the car, and he didn't drive it all that much, but he got gunned down in his armored but also gold-plated Jeep Grand Cherokee. And the vehicle got shot like 300 times, but one bullet went in through the lock cylinder and hit him in the abdomen. And so he was able to drive home before he died, and his son was like crouched in the footwell of the car. So he got home, and then he died, and he never told anybody where the keys were to his McLaren F1, and it's been lost since then. And so I've made a handful of videos chasing that exact car. And it's been one of the more compelling storylines.
Trap Lord Whips.
That's it. Yeah. It's a very interesting Instagram account to follow that one. But yeah, so it's the only one in that specification. But we think it's probably still in Mexico.
How much would that be worth if someone found it? I guess maybe it come when it's that rare. Does it just come down to like which Saudi sheik wants it the most?
Well, there's a lot of big American car collectors that want them, and so it's if it was free and clear and perfect, it's worth $20 million. But it's been sitting for decades, and the recommissioning of a car like that is millions of dollars. It's got the hair on it of having been a drug lord's car, which some people wouldn't like. I would love. And then there's also a question of if you buy a car from the cartel, then it's sort of like that it came from or an ill-gotten way. And then the question is, well, will the U.S. government seize it from you? And so you'd have to probably call the DEA if you even had it. And there's a lot of people that think I have it stored in my basement, but I don't.
That'd be sweet.
It would be really, really sweet.
As far as they know, you don't.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wink,
That's
wink.
right. We're going to maintain that narrative as long as we can. And so you probably have to call them and say, all right, what do I have to pay you to not care that I have this car so that I can ultimately put a license plate on it and drive? But it was wild.
They take money to not care?
Yeah, absolutely. They take money to not
I'm
care.
naive. Okay. That's
Everybody does.
Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, they'll let you sell the drugs if you just tell them, how much of it's theirs. But it's So we've been fascinated by the story of that car for a few years, because I had a guy years ago off Instagram just message me saying that it was available and for sale. And, we've always thought that if it transacted exactly as in the circumstance as it is, it's probably a couple $1 million or $3 million, which if I sold everything I owned, I might be close to. So I find it fascinating in that regard, because it is that ultimate holy grail car. But I think it's either buried in Mexico or long ago it sold to somebody who will never tell us that. So
that's a risky business deal. Would you really it sounds like you roll somewhere approximately-ish your net worth, and then you need to find a few million to prep it for sale, ? And then you make a profit, I hope.
yeah, that's the gamble. Exactly. And that's the kind of play that I've always done. I've done that many times with my net worth into cars, and a lot of them have turned out really handsomely.
You just if DEA's coming after you anyway. You just Thelma Louise that bitch off the.
That's it. And make sure you got the GoPros rolling.
You're not getting me on the car.
Wow.
So I mean, to me, most of what I've done professionally has been out of the motivation to be able to afford the next car, and so it's. I don't really think I'm ever going to find this one, but it's been a fun chase over the last few years. I guess a month or so ago, a guy contacted me claiming that he had found it on the Isle of Man, and that it was going to be for sale for about $2 million, and that it was in the estate of Sir Frank Williams of Williams Racing. And this happens to me because I've been very public about wanting to find the car. It happens to me every few months, but this guy was the most communicative and the most, it seemed reasonable, but he could never come up with pictures. And that's always the thing, is there's no pictures of this car since 98.
He'd have had so many pictures when he first contacted you. He'd have wanted them. He'd be sitting in that bitch.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're a car guy, like there's no way he's not going to pop the hood and like, look.
Right.
I would
Right.
suck
On
at
the-
this business. I was fooled by the picture with the toucan.
God, they've got huge birds over there in Abu Dhabi. That's the scariest thing about the desert is the toucans. They just swim right up to you, peck you.
Yeah, they fucking. Then I saw the next picture. They stole my Lucky Charms.
On the other end of the spectrum, I've been watching Kia Boys content, and most recently Andrew Callahan from Channel 5 News on YouTube. Shout out to him, just doing the Lord's work. His channel's exploding, just doing so well. Did like a 40-minute
Is he
thing
the
about
all
the
brakes,
Kia
no
Boys.
gas guy?
Used to be, now he's
Okay.
obviously doing his own thing, killing it. He did a thing on the Kia Boys, and so I can't remember what shithole city he went to, but one of them. And he's wearing a fucking ski mask in a car, stealing cars with the Kia Boys. He makes the best YouTube videos. He's like, I kind of feel bad about it. But he's
Only kinda like stealing
he's
cars.
like we're like 20 minutes into a 40-minute video or something. He's like, it's at this point when I realize these guys are all underage. Like he's riding around stealing cars with children, and by that point, by the end, they take him to their hangout, which is an old building they sit on the top of like little kids would, and they sit up there and talk about like, what do you think about your dad if he came back around? Would you want to talk to him? And they're like, hell no, he wouldn't have from me. And it's like these are like 14-year-old kids stealing Kias. And what they do to her, you may not know. All right, so here's what the Kia Boys do and why there are Kia Boys and why it's a whole like Instagram fucking TikTok sensation. Kias and Hyundais are so fucking shitty that you can go in there like in the movies and with your bare hands if you're a strong man, but usually with a screwdriver or something, you can pop that plastic away from the column on the steering wheel, and then you just take like a USB, like the part that goes into not your device but the other end. You stick that in the ignition and you fucking go. You fucking go.
Like
That's it.
Huge oversight.
Like in the movies, they at least get the wires out and start sparking. Come on, twist them together. Like none of that's necessary. They just fucking pop that USB in where the key should go, because now they got the plastic shit off, I guess, and they start that shit up. And so the business model is you're going to sell them to someone who's going to do a bigger crime. So it's mostly kids doing it. So they get maybe $100 a car, if that, risking jail time, but they're underage, so it's juvie and shit, but risking their lives too. They don't steal the car like they're a fucking driver with fucking leather gloves pulling off a heist carefully, like Mr. Wolf from fucking Pulp Fiction. Don't think that. They take the wheel and jerk it left, right as hard as they can, and they massacre their way down like streets having fun, full of people all hanging out the windows like Saudis, like trashing the cars, running over shit. And then they rob the car too and sell anything that's in it. Then they sell it to a real like actual criminal, like gonna do a drive-by.
Right, because the
a
Grand Theft
robbery.
Auto people are make-believe criminals.
Yeah,
They
they're
are.
not real criminals.
Well,
They're
there's a big
causing huge
the
problems
people they're
for
selling
normal
the-
people.
Well,
They're
the
just
people
causing
they're selling-
problems for those millionaires who own all their Kias.
No,
Not everyday workaday folk.
Well, what I'm saying is that it's murderers and like armed robbers that they're providing cars for, like getaway cars, because they want to do their thing in an anonymous-ish car, then like drive away to their real car and get, you know what I mean? You can imagine how this is going down. But it was wild to see how brazen and just not give a fuck they are about
What
just walking
country
down
was
the
this?
Are cops
The
just
United
not-
States of America.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I think this was huge in Chicago. for a
Everywhere.
while.
It
maybe
started.
it's everywhere.
I think it started in maybe Milwaukee or something. I can't remember where, but it's huge on social media. There's even Kia girls. The Kia girls like shake that ass while they steal a car. You want to check out the Kia girls out? The
Are
passenger.
they
was-
also 14? Because I'm nervous.
Are the
Yeah.
police just
Yeah,
like,
they are.
not so the police just ignore this seemingly? Like
I mean, they
if
do the
they're-
best they can, but like,
Yeah,
what are you going to
they're
do
not
when
gonna-
there's
They could
armies of-
do better if they're like making YouTube shorts of them like
They wear
riding around in it.
masks. They wear masks.
They call it Tixer, brah.
And
I
they
mean-
don't drive around and they go out on a joyride and then either sell their shit or crash the shit.
Ed, did you
Wow, it's
see the
scumbags.
Jixer Bra story? I'm sorry to pivot on the topic, but no, you didn't. Okay, Jixer
No,
Bra
I
is a motorcycle YouTuber,
Okay.
and his sort of genre is zipping around at deadly speeds,
Right.
speed.
The old
He
Ghost
went-
Rider thing.
Yes, yeah. He went from I forget where, Texas to Colorado Springs, and he averaged like 120 miles an hour or something just outrageous. And by the way, a lot of it is lane splitting. He lane splits at 160. You know, it's I ride a motorcycle a lot, and you know, he makes me nervous, and not many do that. And anyway, they figured out who he was and tracked him down, and he got in big trouble, and now he rides a much slower bike.
Oh, sure. Yeah. There was a Corvette guy doing that recently that was like baiting people into chasing him. It was like stolen Z06 guy.
Yeah.
And they found him in weeks. I mean, he was every night he was going out with a 360 cam mounted off the back of his C7 Z06 and just
He's got a blackout
destroying.
switch. He's
Oh, yeah.
the cop throws on the lights, and all of a sudden the Corvette goes black, and it is black. All the lights go out, and then he's just like dropped the hammer on that bitch because it's just where'd it go? It kind of disappears because it's nighttime. At like as soon as those headlights aren't on it anymore, and you know, with no taillights, it's like, and the cops driving past exits, and it's like, how you know he get off on that one? How you know he get off on that one? Maybe he's 8 miles ahead. Maybe you know, you don't fucking know. He's so goddamn fast. I like that shit. I've seen
like
multiple YouTubers who like make it their deal, and often they'll try to Robin Hood it. So they'll do it when they see somebody else get pulled over. They'll be like, leave him alone. He's small fish. They'll fucking like drop a hammer and like do 120 past the cop that's trying to pull over some like lane splitter or whatever. I love that shit.
I saw the Jigsaw video. He's riding around, I don't know, Mach 1, and he encounters a policeman chasing a motorcycle. So he goes in front of the policeman and slows down, and like, you know, like becomes the policeman's target instead. and he rescues the other motorcyclist, zips off, and now Jigsaw is the primary target. He like flips off the cop, zips around, you know, like goes off the exit, does a quick U-turn in a way that a car would struggle with because he used the sidewalk to avoid traffic. And then he jams on the gas. He's, you know, going from 10 to 180 in a way that most cars can't. And the story just kind of ends, you know, like
Red Bull
he saved the other motorcycle from being chased by the police.
You see the video of Red Bull like getting all their toys out and having their drag race? A bike
Yeah, all their toys included like an F-16 or something like that. Like,
yeah, and like probably some sort of electric like supercar type thing too. But
they had an F1 car. I don't know if it was the current one, but it was a Red Bull F1 car, which if you don't follow F1 is the top F1 car.
Right.
And the motorcycle was first at that distance anyway. We all know that like the cars are faster if you just as a little bit of time sometimes where the bike has it.
I did manage to get moved out of that cell, and my new cellmate, Long Island, he come from a prison where his neighbor said to him, look, I did business with this guy on the streets called English Sean. He's a good dude. If you run into him, look out for him. Now, bear in mind, there's 60,000 people in the Arizona Department of Corrections at that time. So it's weird how people came out the blue to help me. People came out the blue to harm me. So Long Island goes, look, I've got a friend, Two Tonys. You want to play a game of chess with him? He knew if Two Tonys liked me, he would take me under his wing. He didn't tell me that. He was a bit more slick. I said, yeah, you know, fine. What's he in for? Oh, he's old school mafia, multiple homicide murder, 141 years. I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute. You want me to play chess? Because this guy, if I win, I might be next on his list. And then he just goes and gets him, and he comes down the stairs like Uncle Junior. He's already served 20. He's already served 20 plus years. I'm stood in the day room over the chessboard, nervous, sweating. He sees that. He puts me at ease in a fake British accent. He's like, "Have you have bloody tea and crumpets with the Beatles?" And you know, joking around, clowning around. I beat him at chess, and at the end of the game, he says, "Look, how come you beat me so fast?" I said, "You kept speaking your mind all through the game. You wouldn't show someone your hand in a game of cards, would you?" And he slaps his head. He goes, "Oh, me and my big mouth." I didn't know it. He was testing me. He said, "Look, Sean, to stay alive on the road of life, I've had to become a quick judge of character. I like you. I think you're an honest guy. Would you be willing to write my life story?" I said, "Yeah, I would be honored." So I wasn't supposed to be going in his cell, but he had prisoners outside watching for guards. For months on end, I'm going in his cell. He's telling me his life story. Absolutely fascinating stuff. So the lieutenant in the Bonanno crime family who Two Tonys came up under, was Charlie Bats Battaglia, who'd whacked people from coast to coast, got away with it, and was an expert in getting rid of the bodies. So Two Tonys is telling me all these techniques about disposing of corpses. For example, you get a hole dug really deep, get the corpse in there, put some dirt over it, and then put a dead animal, a few feet above it. So if the cadaver dogs come out, they hit on the animal and then they stop digging. But the way the Bonanno crime family solved that was they had double-decker coffins. So they'd have a genuine person whose funeral it was, someone they'd whacked would also go in the double-decker coffin, and they'd either get buried or that's how they got rid of the corpses. So yeah, I wrote Two Tonys' book. It's called The Mafia Philosopher, Two Tonys, but sadly he died in 2010 from his liver cancer from his own drug taking, as a lot of people do in prison because hepatitis C is just absolutely rife. A lot of the guys are sharing dirty needles and stuff like that. So Two Tonys, there was a situation with a shot caller whereby I'd written about prisoners were buying items from the inmate store and they were making their own syringes out of these items. And I put that online, and then the shot caller said, that's tantamount just to putting our secrets out there, put out a green light to have me smashed or killed. And like for 2 or 3 days, the whole yard was in uproar because the fellas were liking me. I was doing this blog called John's Jail Journal. My writing was got in online. My parents would type it up. My aunt would type it up, put it online from my letters that I was sending home. And the prisoners were getting followings. Like people were sending them letters and pen pals and books. We were filling the whole library up with books. We had like a real Shawshank Redemption moment where like 54 books came in 1 week. So half the yard was supporting me, saying I was doing a good thing, and half the yard were like trying to attack me. Anyway, Two Tonys called in a favor, and after 2 or 3 days of craziness, people trying to get in my cell, other people protecting me, after 2 or 3 days of craziness, it all just died down. So potentially could have saved my life, yeah. But that's what it's like, and anything could happen at any moment.
You mentioned you got into a fight and it didn't go well. Is it okay to lose?
Yeah,
is there an honor?
Absolutely. The honor is not walking away. The honor is showing heart. So when you go into prison, into jail, in remand, the first thing they want to know anywhere, your charges, that's a charge check. And they'll also do what's called a heart check. So they'll send someone to you and they'll probe you, find out about you. And then that person might try to intimidate and bully you just to see how far they can go with it, to see if you're a weakie or if you're showing heart.
Huh. So what's the correct? I imagine that's a tightrope, right? Like if let's say you weren't on Two Tonys' good side, and he sends some, big Italian lug into your cell. How do you walk that line of not being outright aggressive towards him when he starts threatening you, but also not looking like a bitch? Because I'm sure you go too hard at him, he'll be like, "Yeah, this guy's a fucking problem. Let's whack him," or whatever the hell it would be.
So when I was living with the serial home invader torturer, who got his friend to attack me. Before his friend attacked me, I sensed that was brewing, and they would come in the cell and talk shit to me, and I thought it was going to go off in the cell. And I'm thinking in my head now, if these guys are just going to punk me, that's it. It's over for me. The rest of my life in prison, I am just screwed. So I had my pens right next to me, and I was just going to go stick a pen in one of their eyeballs. I would just have to make it. I would have to have made an example. Otherwise, I would have been raped, attacked, extorted, everything. So it's that tense all the time, and I could barely even sleep. I'm not a violent person. I'm thinking there's 3 guys in here, big guys. They could just fucking take me down and rape me or anything. If I stick a pen in one of the eyeballs, if they try to rape me, I'm just going to straight shit in my hand and fucking just rub it all over them. Rub it in their faces. These are the levels of demented behavior that these environments force you to think about what you're going to have to do, because you're going to have to retaliate full on if they do something to you. Otherwise, you're a punk.
My next question. Is it okay to win, right? Let's say you're in a fight with some guy and you win 1 out of 10 tries, right? Like, your odds and you think you've got a 10% chance of winning, but it's your lucky day. Now what? You know the score. That guy knows the score. Does he get rematches until you're properly punished for winning a fight? Is it okay to win?
It depends on the level of the beef. So most beefs are squashed with a one-on-one fight. The gangs do not want people jumping in on either side, whether it's within a race or outside of a race. Got a bunch of whites jumping in, a bunch of blacks jumping in. You got a race riot, jail gets locked down. No one comes out of their cells for 3 days plus. The drug business stops. The absolute priority is to keep the drug business running at all times. If 2 prisoners have got a beef, then the leaders of the gangs will say, right, that cell under the stairs, you guys go in there and squash the beef. And you'll see it happen. You know, you can watch it from around the day room and stuff. These guys will fight it out. And at the end, they're having a hug and having a smoke together. Now, there are beefs that can escalate into life and death stuff. There's feuds on the streets that carry over into prison. And there's guys that will just go and pick up a shank and come back and try and kill you. So you've got to be very wary that, you know, who you're dealing with. And as long as it's at that low level, harmony is restored after the beef is squashed.
When they take 2 people in the cell under the stairs and say, work it out, do they ever talk it out? Like, oh, I didn't say Chomo, I said Chromo. I thought you had Down syndrome. And they all laugh it off and move on. Do they ever talk it out?
You know what? Tony said he has used humor to diffuse many a potentially violent situation. But talking it out is more on the female side. In the men's side, they're fast to the fists. You see a guy, he'll be walking down a corridor, he'll look at a guy say, what are you looking at? He'll say nothing. You calling me nothing. Bam, bam, bam. It's on just like that. It's like a powder keg of stress, especially for the guys who are unsentenced. So being unsentenced is more stressful because you don't know what's going to happen to you, and you're looking to take that stress out on somebody.
I asked you what the strategy was, right? For a guy who's not, you know, Herculean. It sounds like losing is it. Like if I go in there, I can't beat up these guys. Just go in, show heart. I hope they accept that. It sounds
the toughest guys have the highest mortality. Look at Nick. You know, he was proud of winning all these fights. The more fights you win, the more challenges you get. Everybody wants to make their name off the toughest guy in the building. So eventually you're going to come a cropper. My strategy was, I've done prison survival advice videos, and one of them is titled, Make Alliances with the Right People. I had Wildman going in. I had 2 Tonys later on.
Okay. Why did that guy torture? You mentioned it was mostly drug dealers, but it wasn't all drug dealers. It sounded like he had a method or like a motive.
Oh, he loved it. He loved it. So he was.
I guess everyone needs a hobby. Okay.
He was going to court one day, and he was in a holding cell, and there was a suspected chomo. So he held a kangaroo court with him as the judge, and it was decided to stab the chomo, tie him up, and stab him, which he did. And then he put a knife into the eyeball of the chomo. He didn't gouge his eye out. He just put it to the eyeball of the chomo like he was going to take the eyeball out. And he told everybody in there, if any of you snitch on what I've done, I will find you, or someone in the prison system will find you. We'll fucking take your eyeballs out. We'll fucking eat them.
Jesus. So that was just kind of his. Some people like to read. Some people like TV shows. Some people like exercise, and he liked breaking people's knees with ball peen hammers and threatening to gouge your eye out.
Oh, yeah. And the day he got arrested, it was headline news. They had like a tank on the street, and they had like helicopters over the house. And in the end, it looked like he was going to go down in a shootout. But in the end, one of his female friends came forward and helped the negotiator get him out. He was full on hardcore.
Were the different gangs, like you said, like it's all about business at the end of the day. They want to keep making their money. They want to keep getting their drugs. But was there almost like a hierarchy, like among the non-gang related prisoners, where it's like, oh, okay, thank goodness the Italians took power from the Aryans. You know, they all suck, but at least the Aryans, you know, they were way more brutal. Or the Hispanic gang's in charge right now. I really hope that the black or whatever gang takes power because they're being so brutal. Or was it all like mutually assured destruction? The Hispanics cut a guy's head off, and so then the Italians and the Aryans do it, and then the blacks have to show they have to do it too. Like just constantly one-upping each other.
I just think you get a tougher dude when you've got brothers. I didn't have any brothers. I didn't have like anybody to compete with that was my age or anything like that. I'm definitely softer because of it. Like Taylor grew up with younger brothers, so he got to be like, he's always been a bully. his whole life. He's just been this piece of shit, just looking down his nose at two younglings who weren't only physically inferior, but they were younger. They hadn't caught on. He'd had multiple years of training, and
multiple years of training is what I call it. I trained the most
being a human.
Being
a human. Those early years are important. An 8-year-old dominates a 6-year-old in the realm of being a human.
That's
using
true.
your philosophy, Kyle.
That
who's
kid knows how the
tougher?
car
The little
works.
brothers who are the victims, or the older brother who's the bully? Like, which one grows
tougher
up?
for it. Everybody's tougher for it because the younger brother has to fight a heavyweight his whole life. And eventually, I bet in Taylor's case, he's probably had to fight a tag team every now and then.
Every once in a while. Yeah, you got to fight them both back. But it
not only steel. What is it? Steel sharpens steel. I bet there's all sorts of mind games.
Yeah,
If a lamp gets broken, Woody, if there's three of us, like the three of us are brothers, not Taylor, and Wolf breaks the lamp. What if me and Wolf agree that you broke the lamp?
Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, there is,
run
Woody.
away.
Of course there is. Just make our beds for 2 weeks. That's all. And then Wolf still broke the lamp.
There is no fucking way I would make your bed.
Okay. I understand that. I understand that you won't make our beds. And
I
that
might
makes
lose,
sense.
but you won't get shit from me. Like that was that's how young
I
Woody would have
understand your
handled it.
position, Woody, but let me make a counter offer.
Realistically.
You won't make our beds for 2 weeks, but perhaps you'll make our beds for 1 week, and in addition, we'll break another fucking lamp and say you broke that one too.
Wolf, I have an idea.
You know what? And you smash a lamp on the floor right there.
Which
trying
one
to
of
hack
you
it.
broke
That
the
one.
lamp?
Look how clumsy Woody was today, Wolf.
I'm going to partner up with the innocent one, break a fucking lamp, and pin them both on you.
Wolf is the innocent
Yeah,
one.
that's not gonna
I'm
work,
the
though.
conniver.
Our word against
You're the
yours.
conniver.
I
See, you
had
guys,
no-
you need to have dirt.
I'm mad
on
about
your
the
brothers.
last lamp.
Like, you need to be like the way you avoid stuff like this is I remember like I got my youngest brother to like do stuff for me for so long, and my younger brother and I got my youngest brother to like, and it was like little things like, hey, get me a soda from upstairs, or go get this snack from upstairs or something. And he basically, the story with my youngest brother, in like 6th grade or whatever, my parents decided like, yeah, we're done with this school you're in. We're pulling you out of this school for the remainder of the year, and you're switching to a new school next year. And my mom was like, for the remainder of this year, I'll just homeschool you. My mom had no fucking experience doing that or anything. And like, she basically told him like, here, like, take this book, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and read this. And like, my youngest brother would just go in his room, which was a playhouse with Legos and everything, and like just play Legos all day. And he made the mistake of telling me and my other brother, he was like, hey, Taylor, I haven't read any of the stuff. This is months into his homeschooling, and he's done nothing. He hasn't even opened The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and he makes the mistake of telling me this.
Yep.
And so then I'm like, that's great. Go grab me a Diet Coke from upstairs. And so like after like maybe a month or two of that, like me and my younger brother are just all the time like just another soda, a round of sodas for me and my friend.
All he had to do was read the book.
All he had to do was read the book. And so like it got to the point where he was like, I'm sick of you guys telling me to go get you sodas and snacks. And we would just have to be like, Tom Sawyer. And then like in a way that like my mom could hear upstairs, and he'd be like, shut up. Shut up. And we're like, really? We'll go get our own sodas, but I'm going to tell mom on the way upstairs about the Tom Sawyer thing. And he's like, fine, what kind of sodas do you want? And then
That's brilliant. See, that's brilliant.
It was great. See, we did a little politicking, that's a little bit of model UN in the home. He learned if you're going to cheat at school, don't spread it around.
See, I
To
didn't
the
have that
people you think you
practice.
can trust.
I didn't get to practice that kind of manipulation and bargaining and stuff and conniving and sneakiness.
And it was all just to have him bring sodas to me. Like that's all we did. Sodas.
To be honest, I don't think my brother would have done that to me. Like my brother and I had a lot of conflict growing up and stuff, and I've lost many fucking fights and grappling matches. But when it comes to like ratting me out to my parents,
Yeah.
I think he was a loyal sibling in that regard.
You had that unified front.
we wouldn't have told. Like we were bluffing, like because we
was
didn't
just a
care.
threat.
He wouldn't have blackmailed me. He never blackmailed me my whole life. Like,
Oh, we did for sodas. Yeah.
yeah.
Can I give you a weird topic for 1 second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking
I would love that.
we're talking about stabbings and stuff like that. Has anyone here actually in person seen someone killed?
In person?
Yeah. You want me to give you a quick
No.
story?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were shooting a music video in Toronto, more specifically a place called Woodbridge. And we were shooting a music video for an artist called Sean Paul, reggae artist. And the music video is called Let's Get Busy. And I hope my mom doesn't hear this because she'd freak out. So we're doing the video and stuff, and me and a couple of the actors were outside. We're chilling in my car. If you ever watch that video, I wasn't in that, but you'll see like both of my brothers in it. My brother has dreadlocks; he's the DJ, all that stuff. So sitting in my car, we're talking about stuff because it was a little chilly that day, and this was a nice, quiet subdivision neighborhood, right? Woodbridge is like an Italian area, very cool, quiet, whatever.
Mhm.
So a couple of weird looking guys are on the set. We had a lot of extras. They were doing a basement party theme. So there's a lot of extras, you don't really vet everybody when you have extras like that and stuff. So apparently someone went there because they heard someone else was going to be there and they wanted to try and set up something. And I'm sitting in my car and everything. And all you hear is a loud bang and screeching. So I thought someone from set maybe dropped something. One of the light fixtures broke or fell on the ground or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
See this kid walking towards me and just falls to the ground, right? And young black kid. And we go over to him. You okay? You okay? And it's not like the movies. There's no blood spurting out. There's nothing, and I didn't even think of it, right? And I just hear someone call the ambulance type of thing. Kid was shot 2 car lengths away from me by someone in a black Mercedes and took off. And he was pretty much non-responsive there in that. Freakiest thing I ever saw. It just saw the entries would. Yeah, go ahead.
Where was the gunshot and his body?
In his torso.
Okay, like a lung shot somewhere.
Yeah,
maybe?
but I couldn't see exactly where because he's wearing like a big jacket because it was cold outside. He had one of those bubble jackets.
That's probably why you didn't see blood. I'm imagining a T-shirt where.
No. He was wearing, he was wearing layers and stuff like that. So again, that's why you didn't see anything, right? So
you never found out why.
We found out later why that it was like a gang thing, and someone came back to get revenge on a kid because they heard he was going to be on set.
No.
Damn.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So you like watched him just like die there on the
watch him
pavement?
fall and die. Like we at first we thought he was like drunk or playing around or something, and then he didn't move. He was struggling a little bit, didn't move.
Don't you hate that?
Him. Huh?
Like I bet in the 50s, if somebody collapsed, everybody ran to help them. You know what I mean? Our society's so fucked up that when you see somebody, you're like, for real?
Am I being pranked?
If the last
is Ashton Kutcher around here?
No, I'm dying, please.
Yeah, and it was just the weirdest thing. I can still vision in my head, and it's like he was gone, and it was like ambulance got there and everything, and then police came later. We didn't even shut down the set. We kept filming.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. And it was
like if you're making
weirdest thing.
I don't know what kind of video it was, but if it was like a hard ass video, that could only add to it. Like when the cops showed up and everything, and like I would want that in the background,
inside the house. So
if you were just, I can just imagine that would make a great rap video.
Quite the prop.
Dirty streets where I live every day, and in the background, they're fucking wrapping the body up, and it's just like, damn, that video goes hard. You seen it?
Yeah. So like after he was shot, like, was it like the ambulance almost got there, or was it like, oh, we just called the ambulance 60 seconds ago, this guy's dead? Like,
well, no, none of us were experienced enough. This happened a long time ago, like a while ago, like the late 90s. So it's like, we didn't have any training or anything like that to, check for vitals or anything like that. People just went, they're checking them and saying, are you okay? Or are you okay? They didn't realize, you know what I mean?
What are you supposed to do? I would feel like, but you're not supposed to move people with like neck things.
Yeah, that's
But,
that's the thing. No one wanted
yeah.
to touch him because you don't know what's wrong exactly, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
you feel like I'm just
not
going to make
till
this
the
worse,
ambulance
rolling
got
some
there
dude
later.
over.
What you should
Yeah.
do is you should get the fuck away from them, because if you interfere in some way that might, if you interfere and then they die, their family could sue. They could be like, oh, he
Yeah.
would have lived if Taylor hadn't tried to perform that fucking tracheotomy over there. He stuck a
Well, yeah.
penknife in my husband's trachea.
Yeah.
Because
Don't
he
worry.
caught on-
I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Kind of sounds like there's nothing you can do. That
No,
if
there wasn't.
you're an ER surgeon
Blink.
and that guy has that shot, he still dies. I didn't. You asked about someone that died. I've got a motorcycle accident story, but I've told it
I ain't
before.
helping nobody.
What's closer? Chick didn't die, but I'm at something called an SIV course. This is a paragliding thing where you learn to deal with emergency situations. And you know when you swing on a swing and you go really high, you get that thing where the chain is kind of loose, like it stops being tight and you sort of fall.
Yeah.
Well, that happens in these courses, but to the extreme. So anyway, she's swinging and the wings going good. It goes wrong, so she throws her reserve chute, and the reserve wraps around her neck.
Ooh.
And we're watching her come down on reserve with her neck just hanging in the lines of the reserve parachute.
How much you weigh?
She was hot, so 125 maybe.
Did the chute open?
She's fine. She's fine. I'm
I
calling
think
it right
I don't
now.
understand open.
Like the chute actually was.
Oh yeah. The
open
chute
fully,
is
and wasn't slowing
the
her
chute's
down.
fully open, and my concern. So a parachute is designed to open slowly. There's this thing called a slider. It's kind of a bird's nest, and you get kind of a gentle, like relaxed opening of a parachute. A reserve chute is designed to save your ass, even if you're at 100 feet. That thing opens in a pow. And
Nice.
I'm worried it's going to pull her fucking head off, but it's still attached. Anyway, she was fine. Save the
Knew it.
rope burn around her neck.
Yeah, it's the difference between like an implied sort of scariness, where like if Tony Soprano's threatening you, not only are you afraid because he's a big scary man, but you also know that like shit, even if I whoop Tony's ass, hell, if I kill him even,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't end well. He's not gonna go back like, yeah, Woody whooped my ass, boys. He's the boss now.
It was
Or
a
like,
fair fight.
or like,
We'll
hey,
let it go.
leave Woody alone. He kicked my butt in honorable combat. He's gonna be like, I want you to go over tonight. I want you to go get Woody.
Mhm.
I don't want you to go get Woody's family and get that dog, that stupid fucking dog. Get that dog. That's what's gonna. It's
yeah.
like,
No, so I'm
shit.
with you on that, but sometimes I feel like these are people who aren't afraid of the mob, and
Yeah.
they still like their biker gang. Look, that biker gang would have kicked the fuck out of the mob in that situation. They
Yeah,
were
I
all
think-
tougher guys.
Yeah, I think that's just a casting problem more than
Mhm.
anything, and like the way it's sort of displayed. I don't know. I feel like if you look at the way like actual modern gangsters handle themselves, man, it's somebody even. It seems like if anyone disrespects you, they just come back and shoot them to death, right? Like that's what most of that. When you hear about like the gun violence in Chicago, it's a drug war that's happening. It's gangsters fighting over corners and territory to sell drugs, and they're killing each other. And like who's the guy in the NBA that Stephen A. Smith, not Stephen A. Smith, the other one, who's the one that got the little lift? He's
He's an announcer, but
No,
is he in the NBA?
He's it's the big dude. We were joking about him a couple. Shut the this fucking dog. It's that it's the black guy who has the show with the older white guy. He's a former player.
Right. Shannon Sharp is the one
Yeah,
we talked
yeah,
about.
that guy.
Oh, he's a football player though.
Yeah, he was just called. I remember he was calling some an NBA player out for just being a gangster. And
Yeah,
it's like,
so Shannon Sharp was calling out Ja Morant. Ja Morant apparently is not really a gangster, but he's adopted that persona and just walks around on the court like, don't fuck with me. Meanwhile, I don't know how big he is, but I think he's smaller than most NBA players.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess what I was getting at is like, seems like the way modern gangsters do things, like they just shoot each other. There's no like mob boss that's on the streets who's talking a lot of shit because anybody who does that gets shot to death. It would seem.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, this isn't really my world, but
Yeah, I'm going off The Wire mostly, right? Like I feel like
just-
The Wire is a pretty accurate representation of what's going on like at street level drug sales, right?
here's the situation that happens in movies. A guy's from out of town. He doesn't realize he's dealing with the mob, but he like gets his ass kicked because this mobster's supposed to be tough, but he doesn't seem very tough to me. Or it's like, if I have the ability to win this fight and then leave town and never come back to that town, that's my move. Yet all these guys lose their fights. Why? Because Joe Pesci's so handy with his hands?
You have to give me some examples. And again, these are just issues with movies that you have more than like.
That's what
anything.
that's what the issue I'm making, though. I'm not saying that like in real life these gangsters are winning fights they shouldn't have.
You know,
I
if
don't
you think
know.
about like I'm the main one where Joe Pesci's like the real tough guy is like Casino, you know. And if you look at like all the instances where he's conducting himself as a tough guy, he never squares up with anybody. He stabs people in the face when they aren't looking, right? Or he gets his goons to hold you on a table and put your head in a vice. He wasn't like, hey, yous, come at me. He never did anything like that. He never just threatened the only time he'd like actually wanted somebody, it was like that fat, older, overweight lawyer. That's the guy he grabbed and was like, what the fuck are you going to do this and that? Someone he could overpower. Everybody else. Like, oh, you're not looking? Let me stab you in the ear. Dude, who stabbed you in the ear? I'm going to start crying too. Don't stab me in the ear, Joe. I didn't know. Dude, I thought an ass whooping was as bad as this could go. And I'm deaf as a leader. Like, we started off with deafness. I don't know. I'm afraid of Joe Pesci or anybody who's willing to stab me in the ear, even when it seems like things are okay now.
It's because he's unpredictable and cruel.
Did you step on my shoe? Yeah, sorry about that. And he turns away. No problem. But he's really going to stab me in the ear when I turn back to my drink. Like, I'm terrified of that guy.
Yeah, because he's not
going to arm wrestle me, would he?
No. He's going to wait until you're not looking and stab you in the shoulder with a fork or something.
Something worse.
Probably something worse. That would actually be not too bad compared to what he did to most people.
Yeah, I'm scared. And then, you know, and the classic one where Joe Pesci is scary is, you know, Home Alone. And if you're a child, Joe Pesci's terrifying, you know.
Yeah, horrifying. Do you know what actually scared me in Home Alone?
The dangerous one.
Escape from New York. Not Escape from New York. What the fuck is it
Escape
called?
from LA?
Lost in New York.
No, Home
Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Lost in New York. Yeah, I thought you said Boston, New York, and I'm like, I know that's not it. Lost in New York. There was like, as a kid, I remember watching that, and I would like turn away every time Marv went to like get electrocuted in that warehouse because like him being like, and like seeing his skeleton and everything, that scared me as a little kid. I didn't like it. I was like, oh, I know he's the burglar, but I hope he's not too fucked up from that.
So I wanted him to die. I was like,
what?
I hope
you wanted Marv to die?
I wanted him to die in the first one. I was a huge fan of Home Alone, and I although, you know, I was always like, why don't he just get a real gun? I was like, I would just skip right to the gun, you know, if there were home intruders. I feel like,
yeah, it's like that Family Guy, that old Family Guy sketch where it's like a realistic Home Alone, and like the guys come in immediately, and he like throws a paint can down.
Oh, look out for that
shoot
paint
him
can
in the head. Yeah, look out for that paint can. Hey, there's some marbles on the floor. Oh yeah,
watch out.
Watch out. I could have stepped on them. And they just kill him.
Yeah, he's fucking dead. Yeah, that's what would happen. Like there's no amount of paint cans that are gonna stop me from getting you little fuck.
Yeah, I'll kill that spider too.
Oh, a spider! I'm gonna make you eat this, you little piece of shit. Let me put you. I'm a grown ass man. You think I'm afraid of a goddamn spider? I'm coming. I'm a robber.
I'm
a home invader, and
Chat
the traps
burglar.
didn't slow
Get
me
over
down.
yourself.
You think I'm scared of you and your spider? You're in some shit. I'm
moonlighting as a burglar. I'm a murderer. Like
yeah,
that's what he did.
that was how they like made sure you hated them, right? Like that first house they robbed, they turned all the water on. The wet bandits. They plug all the drains and turn all the water on, and these people are away from their homes.
Why do you always turn the faucets on? He's like, it's our calling card for the wet bandits. It's like, no one calls us that, Marv.
It's such a horrific thing to do to somebody.
That is the worst thing you could do to someone's house.
It'd be better to burn it down.